Do you want to catch all the NFL live action, highlights, and touchdowns every Sunday afternoon? Want all that glorious football action without paying extra? Dish has heard your need for more NFL football on a bill that doesn't change. That's why Dish gives you a 2-year price guarantee and 1 season of NFL Red Zone from NFL Network at no additional cost. It's about time you get all the Sunday afternoon football you want without paying extra. Dish listens. It's how they stay tuned into you. 2-year price guarantee applies to core programming and certain fees. Requires credit qualification and 2-year commitment. NFL Red Zone and multi-sport package included with packages starting at $69.99 and no additional cost through January 2nd, 2019. Other restrictions apply. To learn more, dial 1-844-CALL-DISH. Visit dish.com or find a local retailer near you. Joining us now, our brother who spoke at Aretha Franklin's funeral. We were all there together. We just heard from Roland Martin. Be sure to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered tonight at 6 p.m. And I'm sorry, I just running together in this holiday. This is primary day in Boston. Ayanna Pressley running for Congress, a black woman. If you live in Boston, vote for Ayanna Pressley, folks. Ayanna Pressley, Ayanna Pressley, Ayanna Pressley. Please, ma'am, please, sir. Joining us now, the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber. Good morning, doctor. How you feel?
Good morning, Reverend. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm well, man. I'm well. Got a lot going on this week, and you're right about Sister Presley, and we got all these other hearings going on. No time to be asleep, brother. It's time to stay woke.
No question about it. What are your thoughts about this Kavanaugh hearing?
I think three things. Number one, we are dealing with a candidate that's been nominated for the Supreme Court, and Republicans have had a chance to have two presidents that did not receive the popular vote for presidency nominate people to the Supreme Court. That should deeply concern us all. Number two, Kavanaugh is being nominated in a way we have not seen since for 150 years. It's been over 150 years since a president was denied his nomination nominee to the Supreme Court was denied a hearing, and then once that president was out of office, the hearing process was opened back up. Mm-hmm. Number three, Kavanaugh has the potential to make this court, many scholars believe, the most regressive court since Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. Since Jim Crow. This morning, we get 42,000 new documents that nobody has read. But this is also why, Mark, we have to be careful not to be distracted by the tweets or to call Donald Trump dumb. He's doing what he was put in office to do. Kavanaugh is a Koch brother supported nominee. The Koch brothers and Kavanaugh, and Trump were acting as though they were mad at each other, like they're fighting. But there's a book called Democracy in Chains by Nancy McLean, and she points out that there's no fighting between them. This is actually a Koch nominee. And really what they ultimately want, they would love a 7-2 Supreme Court, 7-2, that would give them control of the highest court in the land for 20, 30, maybe even 40 years. That is very dangerous, my brother. And right. I hope the Democrats do everything they can, and we should be flooding those phones. But these people, that's why they put up with Trump. They wanted the tax cut, and they want the Supreme Court. Ultimately, I believe they want to roll back a lot of the gains. And, Kavanaugh was one, not only did what he said about presidents shouldn't be charged or investigated, but, where does this man stand on the 14th Amendment? Because, people forget Trump early on when he was running sent a signal that he would be open to changing the 14th Amendment. Equal protection under the law for all persons, not all citizens, all persons. And, Doc, if you undo the 14th Amendment in any way, basically the 14th Amendment is what saved our Constitution, what caused the Constitution to be reborn. If you undo it in any way, you affect everybody's life, women, disabled people, black people, gay people. It doesn't matter, because without equal protection under the law, we are not America at all.
Yeah. This Kavanaugh appointment today, as you said, it could be the most regressive court of a generation. And we invite you all to call your senators You've also been saying, people pull down that statue in North Carolina. You were saying if you're going to pull down a statue, be sure you pull down a lever to vote in November. And you talked about two um, at Aretha's funeral, the importance of continuing her legacy and living up to her expectations of all of us and getting out to vote.
We are at a moment, Mark, that protest and voting are the two tools that we have that we have to use in this moment, and that's it. All people who are people of goodwill and conscience, particularly though us, African Americans, poor people who are white poor people, Latino poor people. That's what we're doing in the Poor People's Campaign right now. We're all over the country in 30 states registering people for the movement who will vote. I was looking at statistics the other day, Mark, and it said something like if just 12% more, we just had a 12% higher turnout in this off-year election, you could take not only the House, but you could take possibly the Senate. Now, that's just 12%, not 100%, somewhere around 12 to 14%. We have been fighting against voter suppression and winning. But people have to use it. We cannot be a people who just react. It is time to go on the offensive now and to vote. I said the other day at Aretha's funeral, and Reverend Jackson said it. People stood in line.
Yeah.
Stood in line to see her. God bless that. Thank you, God. I'm glad people have that kind of respect. But people should be the same way standing in line to vote. There's no need to keep praying, for God to take Trump away. The Bible said, ask Moses, what's in your hand? No need to cuss at every tweet and talk about how bad he is and talk about his hair. And there's no need to think it's just him either. He couldn't do a lot of the things he does if the Congress was not supportive of him and was not enabling him. We get a chance to grade him by voting for these congressperson and Senate. Every member of the United States Congress is on the ballot. Members of the United States Senate are on the ballot. It's time for us to, if you want to cuss at the polls by pulling them. If you want to say this ain't right, go to the polls. If you want to change things, go to the polls. If you want to send a word loud and clear that you don't like what's going on, go to the polls. That's what has to happen in November. And it really has to start in the early voting places in October where we have early voting, what we know on election day in November.
The Poor People's Campaign itself, is that pretty much where all the emphasis is now, Reverend Barber, 10 minutes before the hour, to focus on getting out the vote?
Our focus is on what we call registering people for the movement who will vote. Now, the reason we say registering people for the movement, because we also need people that will vote who have an analysis and who know the issues and who will say, look, I'm not voting. Some people say, well, if we had, President Obama on the ballot. No. Health care is on the ballot. Whether or not you're going to have a living wage is on the ballot. The Supreme Court is on the ballot. Whether or not we're going to have laws that deal with racism is all the things on the ballot. We need to be voting out of a consciousness, Mark, and not just out of an emotion, right? And so what we're doing is we're going into communities, canvassing people, and letting them know what's at stake in this moment, and then registering them both to be a part of the movement and the vote. So people vote in November, but we continue to press after November. That's what we're doing in more than 30 states around the country.
That's right. And folks, this is very, very important. And every one of you who is in contact with a millennial or a young person who's eligible to vote, encourage them. Be sure you encourage them to get out and vote. This is very, very critical. And see, people now should understand more than ever, Reverend Barber, how important voting is to this Supreme Court situation. People are horrified by what Kavanaugh could do, but we can't address it if we're not in the voting booths.
And remember now, we talk a lot, and I don't want to ever blame the folks, but we talk about Trump. Trump won basically by less than 80,000 votes. That's how he got the electoral college. He didn't win the popular vote, but it was votes. He won. I think in one state like Michigan, only 11,000 votes.
Yeah.
And there are hundreds of thousands just of black people, not who needed to be registered, who were already registered, but stayed home. We cannot stay home, Doc. We cannot stay home because this might not be the only. I was watching the notorious R.B. Ruth Bader Ginsburg last night, but Ruth has been battling her health
Lord
for
have mercy.
years, and this man could get a third, nominee. If he gets past November and there's not a clear vote that says you respect us, as Aretha says, he will go. You think he's off the chain now?
Yeah, he really be out of
Let him
control
get
then.
past November.
And folks, these are the stakes that a lot of people didn't think about in 2016, but these are the stakes now. Folks, follow Reverend Barber on Twitter at Reverend Dr. Barber, REFDR Barber. Also, the Poor People's Campaign at Unite the Poor. We're going to be resuming our weekly conversations with Reverend Barber, so we'll be up to speed on everything he's doing and how you can get involved. Also, poorpeoplescampaign.org is the website. So, folks, check it out. Get involved. Make sure that you are registered to vote as well. Also, text moral to 90975. Moral, the word moral, to 90975 to keep up with everything going on with the Poor People's Campaign. Doctor, thank you for your eulogy. You and Reverend Sharpton and others and Reverend Dyson, and we just need to lift those eulogies up and salvage those. We know what happened with the other one. We don't need to focus on that as a distraction. So we just need to be sure that we go forward with all that was positive, and it was wonderful. Reverend Barber got his holy dance on too, y'all, at the funeral.
Well,
and so
I tell you what, you're right about don't let anything distract us. Stay focused. And let's tell the whole story. You started that mess over there crying and carrying on and hit me. I was trying to be dignified, and the Holy Ghost hit me. But it was Mark Thompson that started that mess. Y'all, they ain't show that on
it was.
TV.
I know Vanessa Bell Armstrong and the Williams brothers started it.
Well, that is true.
They started. We just couldn't stand it. I mean, nobody was prepared. When you go back and look at the video, nobody was prepared for that. They just came out. It was quiet. They came out very humbly and quietly. So we know what they were going to do. And by the time they hit Precious Memories is just that kind of song anyway. It's a dangerous song to sing at any time, anywhere.
That's right.
And when it's handled the right way, that's why it's the lyrics, Precious Memories. That's what you're thinking about. So we all got a little full from that, right. and it was a lot. But love you, brother.
Right. Love you, my friend. Take care.
Okay, we'll talk next week again. All right, folks. All right. Glad everybody could join us on all of our social media. If all minds are clear, it has been made plain.